Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put our First Division Coventry City winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast. I'm your host Mike, and it's in association with Lucky Star Gin as always. Today we have Sophie and Zoe from the women's team. We're going to be finding out all about them and looking forward to the FA Cup match on Sunday evening under the lights at Gander Green Lane. I can't tell you how excited I am to be watching you guys under the lights. I know it's only small things, but I love it. As always, everyone, engagement's important. Please join in the discussions, say hello, share, tweet, all the rest of it. I don't know what it's even called on TikTok, but whatever it is, do that. We'll start with you, Sophie. I'm not going to say disappointed, but it's just you on camera. What is the little sidekick today?
Oh, no. It's bedtime, thank God, so she's asleep.
I have to say, I absolutely loved that. And it was like, I was looking going, I see people do this all the time, like, and we've won championships or whatever, the kids will come on. I'm like, I'm a big fan of this. This should happen on all interviews. It's just absolutely. But how are you and how are you enjoying your time at Sutton so far this season?
Really good, thanks. Thanks for having us on the podcast. Yeah, it's been really nice. I joined, this is probably my first proper full season. I joined sort of this time last year. So it's really nice to start a full season with the girls, with the team. Yeah, I think it's going well.
That wasn't leading into anything, don't worry. And Zoe, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Now, the voice has changed because I am leading into something. 2 years I've sat on this. 2 years I've had this story ready to talk about. Ken Bates. Don't pull that face. Your dad told me about Ken Bates when you were as a baby.
Oh yes, yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, it was so long ago. I just had to reclog the memory there. Yeah, so as big as a Chelsea fan I am, I was sick on Ken Bates as a baby. That's right. My dad telling me all the stories.
Yeah. I think it was like the third thing he said to me.
Doing really well, thank you. Been enjoying this season at Sutton, like Soph said. Enjoying training and playing games. I was a bit injured at the start of the season, but really happy to be playing in the recent few weeks. So that's been really nice.
Cool, excellent. So, Sophie, we'll start with you. A little bit of backstory. Can you tell us a little bit about your sort of journey at football so far? Is there any particular person that sort of inspired you to play football? Because you guys are, I can't say the first wave, but the first sort of group where football was perfectly normal. Because when I was growing up, a girl playing football was not normal. So you guys are the first kind of group that it's not. Well, who did you look to as your football heroes?
Quite a tough one. I mean, I can't say there's a specific player, which I know is always a bit anticlimactic because I know a lot of people have like a hero when they think of players. But I suppose I started playing in year 7, so it's secondary school, which for a lot of people now is actually quite late. A lot of girls are starting much earlier. But I know our teachers at a lot of time after school running training sessions and things like that, which I know a lot of schools in our area didn't have at the time. So it was really well run after school football sessions, which I think just, I suppose, paved the way. And for us, that was quite normal. I suppose we didn't experience any different. So we were quite lucky looking back for what other people, I suppose, didn't have. So I guess it's thankful for them to have taken their time for that, I suppose. But in terms of an inspiration, I mean, there was a girl at our school who played for Chelsea at the time, which, like, I mean, is obviously a Chelsea fan as well. But at the time, you're like, oh my God, that's insane. And she'd always play on the boys' teams and just just go around everyone, and you'd always look up to that and think, oh, it's someone that you know, and that's possible. So I suppose in that sense, probably something like that.
Where did you kind of start? How's the journey been to you to come join Sutton United?
So when I was again in year 7, I joined a grassroots team. It was when teams started from maybe 7 or 9 aside, and they went up to 11 aside. So obviously local teams were looking for players. So that's when I first started at a team. And then I actually joined Maidenhead when I was about 19 or 20. So about 5 seasons ago now, which will be interesting on Sunday. Then for about 3 seasons, then went to Fulham for, I think it was 3 seasons as well. And then here I am at Sutton. So I feel like quite a short playing history compared to some people. Not many teams, but
Zoe, yourself, who are you kind of looking at growing up, and how is your journey to Sutton?
Again, a bit like Soph said, a bit difficult. I didn't really have a female hero growing up. I think it was probably as we were getting older that the women's game was kind of just growing and getting a bit bigger. So I was more into like the men's football when I was younger, just because that's what you were more exposed to. Whereas nowadays it's amazing, so much exposure for women's football with the Euros and the World Cup, that there's female players are household names now, which is amazing. Growing up, I more kind of admired Petr Cech as a goalkeeper. I just thought he was amazing, wonderful, especially being a Chelsea player. So I always loved watching him. I've always loved playing since I was a kid, but it was more kind of at the park and local kind of half-term summer camps. There wasn't really anything just for girls that I could really go to until I was about maybe 11 or 12. So in year 7, a bit like Soph said, nowadays that's quite late, but there wasn't really anything around for me before that. It was just kind of casual playing in the park and things like that with boys normally, and maybe the odd girl who was involved as well. So that's where I got into it. And then again, a bit like Sophie said, that in my high school there was a girls team, and that's we got to a Surrey Cup final and won that. And that's when someone first saw me and said, come down and have a try at our club. So I've only played for 2 clubs actually. I played for Carshalton from when I was 15 up until I was about 21, and then I joined Sutton 6 years ago. So those are my 2 teams. But I've really enjoyed my time at Sutton over the last 6 years.
You said you played Carshalton and Sophie's left. But I'm sure she'll be back. You mentioned obviously the young ones now having kind of different experience to you. They get to see you guys, and I'll forever blame / be grateful to Jazz for giving that little wave to Rosie when she was going to take a corner, and that kind of hooked Rosie in on football and Sutton United in particular. But how sort of aware are you when you're seeing all the little kids there? Because it is obviously I go to the men's games, and it's totally different experience. You guys are really engaged with the young ones there as well. How sort of important is that to you?
That's, I think, really important to me, because as I said, it's really important to give children exposure to female football, and that girls can do it too, and have someone for them to look up to. And I love that the children are so invested and involved, and that really makes their day when you walk them out on the pitch and they get really excited. And working in a school as well as a teacher, the kids get really excited that I play football as well, and sometimes they come down and watch the games, which I think is great, and I love it when I come see them and support, or if they ask me about the games. And it's just to kind of normalize it that women and girls can play football as much as anyone else, and also have fans growing up enjoying it from when you're younger, to watch female games. So I just think that's really important, getting the children excited and happy to come and watch the games. And just by giving them a wave or walking them out on the pitch or talking to them afterwards, we really enjoy it. I know having a chat with them. So we have some regulars that come and join us now. So it's really nice, and it's really lovely for us knowing that the children are really enjoying coming to our games as well.
Yeah. So you dipped in and out. You feel about the kids at football, and Rosie has got complete the other way, because I'll say, "Oh, do you want to go to football?" And she'll ask who's playing. Is it the boys or the girls? And if I say it's the boys, she's no. So, oh, okay. This is sexism the other way. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is not allowed. But she seems to think that every time she goes, she gets to lead you guys out. It's fuming, because not once have I ever led anyone out at Gander Green Lane. So, but how kind of aware are you, Sophie, of the little ones there and interacting with the kids at football as well?
I mean, when we see that the younger teams who help us out, I think it's the FA Cup game we had, ball girls around the outside. And I know if it was me at that age when I went to watch any sort of women's game or senior teams play, and you just sort of look up to them and you think, oh, wow, that's obviously when I was younger, that's what I wanted to do. And now I'm the one doing it. And you see those younger players around and you can sort of see that excitement on their face. And it's really nice for us, I think, because for us playing, you have to bring it down. But obviously it's tier 5 football, it's a really good standard. But obviously we're not professional footballers. But for them to see it, that's what they can be next. So for them to look up to us, it's a really nice feeling. And again, yeah, you see them after games, chat to them. And I know for me, if someone did that, it would go a really long way. So it's really nice to interact with them and thank them for being there. And yeah, hopefully it keeps them engaged and wanting to come back.
Yep, absolutely. So on to the team. There was quite a turnover this summer of players. Loads of people I knew left, and then all of a sudden there's complete strangers running around. I'm like, how quickly have we managed to? Because again, you said part time. You've all got jobs and do other things. So how quickly was it able to get a good team spirit and camaraderie within the team? And if there's any behind the scenes stories you want to tell, don't name names, is what I'm going to say. Zoe, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think we've just tried to be as welcoming as possible, the new players coming in, and get that team spirit going as quickly as possible. And we had quite a lot of pre-season games to try and get that team, kind of the new team, molded together, because as you said, it was a big turnover, and we lost a lot of good players as well. And we've tried to bring in some good players, and we've brought in some really good quality players, I think, that have really meshed well with the team, and personally and socially, and also in playing as well, which has been fantastic. And over the pre-season and the start of the season, we've got to know each other more and more, and we're still kind of getting used to each other, the way we play, and just that link up on the pitch. But I think I can see it getting better and better each week. And we're still dealing with things like injuries and how we cope with that. But I think all the new additions to the team have been really positive, and everyone's getting along really well with each other. I hope Sophie agrees.
I was going to say, Sophie, you're a relatively new player, so how does that seem for you? Go on, say they're all horrible. Go on.
Yeah, no, I agree with what Zoe said. I think the things like, awkward if I said no. No, I think it's something you can continually build on, is that, camaraderie and togetherness. And I think for me, I've been part of teams where that togetherness alone is enough to see a game through. So for me, it's about that experience, and I want that for everyone, because it's a really nice feeling. Small things, you just to get to know each other throughout the season. And I suppose I haven't done any initiation. I don't think that's anything we want to bring up, but just little icebreakers we can do every now and then to help everyone bond together, and that'll show on the pitch as well. And getting to know each other on that level, yeah, it's something we keep trying to build on, and hopefully it shows in the football as well.
We could start off a thing saying that all new players have to come on the podcast. That could be their initiation, or make them sing or something as well. Oh no, everyone's done it. So again, with training, obviously fitting in around your working life. I know, Zoe, you sort of skipped training this evening. How kind of what do you concentrate on? So big game this weekend, obviously under the lights at Gander Green Lane. I'm not going to pretend not to excited, but what do we kind of concentrate on in training in leading up to the games? How often do we train? Is it twice a week or once a week?
Well, we have 3 training sessions a week. So we train 3 times a week. I go to a separate one just for goalkeepers, separate to the team as well. And we concentrate on our first session of the week. We sometimes do a little bit of statistic work and a bit of match analysis from the previous game, and look at what went well, what can we do better as a team. And we've just started kind of doing a little bit more match analysis in that session, which I think is going to be really helpful moving forward for us as a team to look at our match highlights and certain areas of the game where maybe we could do better, and you know, look at how we can build on that into the next game. So I think that's really useful, and we then on a Thursday try and work a little bit more on match realistic situations and drills that involve kind of sets of players that work together that we can build on and use on a Sunday in a game. And midway through the week, we also do more of a fitness, strength and conditioning based training sessions. So it's a little bit of mixture of everything, match realistic drills also, and as well as kind of working on our fitness too throughout the week. So a good mixture of everything building up to a Sunday.
Right, so that's 3, possibly 4 nights a week and Sundays.
Yeah.
This plays havoc with social life, surely, Sophie.
My mum, so what social life? You set me
Fair
up
enough.
for that one, didn't you?
No, I didn't think about it. Genuinely didn't realise it. You did training, but I didn't realise it was that sort of much and that intense. You did say you were playing at the 5th tier, so obviously it is. But is that the same at the other clubs? The one other club you guys have been at, the same everywhere, or are we doing it a bit different?
Well, other clubs I've been at, it's normally twice a week, I think, is the norm. Again, it depends on, I think, availability of training pitches and things like that, but usually it's twice. Obviously, we have the 3rd session as well for that additional strength and conditioning, which is beneficial as well. It's all there just to help us, which is great. And I think as well, I suppose coaches and managers giving up their time to run those sessions. It's a big commitment for everyone, players and staff. So yeah, we're really grateful that we've got those opportunities to do it as well. So, and
obviously you mentioned the standard. It does seem a really, really sort of funny division where the games can be either 6-0 wins, 6-0 losses, just no kind of the divide between the teams and the standards between the it seems this division is kind of worse, I suppose, is more difficult to judge on it. Are you guys aware of how teams are going to be, or are they all changing over players quite frequently, so it's difficult to know who you're going to be playing against? Zoe, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think it's difficult from season. Sometimes teams can change so much over a season. Like even just our team, for example, there's so many different players than there was to last season. So it's hard to judge sometimes on the first game. But then obviously we play everyone twice. So hopefully by the second time we play them, we've got a better idea of how to prepare against them and how to set ourselves up. So we always kind of have a rough idea and look at previous results to see how that team are getting on, but it's important to always go into every game with the same mindset of just to do our best, regardless of where they are in the league or which players they have. Obviously it's important to look at certain teams and prepare in a certain way if there's a way we can help ourselves for a Sunday, but we've always got to go in with that mindset of we've got to do what we've been working on and do our best in that game, regardless of what team it is.
Sophie, so how easy is it to get over? I mean, Matt from the men's first team says we never get too high, never get too low. But some of the results, as I said, can swing quite wildly. How easy is it to kind of just put the last one behind you and concentrate on the next one?
Well, I mean, it depends on the result. If it's been a win, it's always quite nice to dwell on it. But it's very easy, I suppose, to put the not so good results behind you, and you just want to move on quite quickly and prove a point in the next game and have a positive reaction to it. Because, like you say, the standard is so vast in our league, which I suppose adds to the excitement of it. It can be quite unpredictable sometimes and quite high scoring games, which is nice for the fans. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I think, like Zoe said, you do what you can in the game and try and focus on us as a team. And, you can never judge it on the first few weeks of a season. Some teams, I think one team in our league is unbeaten so far. But then after Christmas, can you maintain that? So I suppose it's hard for everyone to keep going. It's a long season.
You mentioned the goals, and I specifically want to ask Zoe this one, because it's coming up to the end in the World Cup. Was it your World Cup or Euros? I can't remember. There was a lot of conversation about the standard of women goalkeepers, and wasn't positive conversation. And it was just one random guy on Twitter was like, yeah, women are on average about half a foot shorter than men. So the goals are the same size. That's why you sit there looking, thinking, do that. Would you say that it would add to the excitement of the men's football if we could raise their crossbar by 6-7 inches just to get that extra little bit there? Is it something you've been aware of, that you kind of think this isn't quite the level playing field we all think it is? It's the same football pitch, but it's not the level playing field.
I've seen a lot of conversation online about that, because women are playing on the same pitch as men, and obviously there's a biological general difference in sizes and heights of female players to male players. So sometimes, in women's football, you're seeing these worldy goals, and sometimes watching, you think, oh well, a male goalkeeper would have got that, but actually, the height that females can reach is not going to be as high as males usually. You still see female goalkeepers at top level reaching those corners and saving goals from up high as well, which is amazing. They still make worldy saves. However, there is a difference. So it's a really difficult one, because as much as you're looking for equality, and females can do the same as males, and we can still play 90 plus minutes on game days. There is that also argument of, though there's equality, is there equity, is there fairness with the goal sizes and things like that. So it is a difficult one, and it's interesting discourse that goes on online and things like that, sometimes on the telly as well. But yeah, there is a difference where you're seeing, sometimes I see a lot of kind of slander on Twitter. Oh, that goalkeeper could have reached that, in the women's game, but actually, if you're taking size and height into consideration, that goalkeeper's probably done the best she can to reach where she did, and can't get too much further. So it's a difficult one.
The reason I said not lower the crossbar for you, but raise it, is because I was scared Jazz might shout at me, because that's where she puts the ball, that little tiny little bit. So it's like, no, raise it for the guys. We'll get more goals in men's football as well. That'll be fun. But one of the arguments I have is, because women's football was banned for so long, and Sophie's gone again, or was banned for so long, there is a disparity in skill, because boys have been playing football as standard for so long, and we're only now kind of getting to the level. And one of my things was, okay, let's watch some goalkeeping clips from the 1950s and then compare the two 70-year-old things and see how much mistakes was in there and what was going on. So there are people getting the other side of the argument and getting very cross as well.
Yeah.
Right. I was going to ask Sophie first about the previous match. It was a tough game.
Yes.
They were a very tough side, a lot tougher than perhaps we maybe thought.
Yeah.
I will get you to talk us through the penalty shootout. Sophie's back. What we'll do is we'll ask Sophie first of all about her goal. Going to go, isn't she? She's not going to answer that question.
That's a shame, because I know she is buzzing to talk about her goal.
We'll get her back in a sec. So the penalty shootout, you legal heroics, Zoe.
Don't know what you mean.
And was getting very upset.
Can't please everybody, unfortunately.
No, as I said, you were just being kind and giving the ball back to them. It's just kindness.
Yeah.
But how much do you practice penalties, and how difficult is it to kind of replicate in something that penalty shootout, or is it no pressure on the keeper at all?
We don't practice too often, to be fair. I think if we have a cup game, we'll do a little shootout practice on a Thursday, maybe just before. And before a game, normally the penalty taker assigned for that game will take a couple before the game. I don't think it's a regular practice of ours, yeah, I just they always say no pressure on the keeper. Don't worry, Zoe, just do your best. But there's always that bit of pressure. But I've always quite enjoyed penalty shootouts. I've just had a bit of success in the past, and I think that just keeps me going in my head. You know, I've got this, and I quite enjoy the drama and the pressure of it for some reason. But it's normally kind of worked out quite well. So it's obviously really nice to do that for the team and to save one to help us to get through. So yeah, it's a great feeling, especially because having a few fans in that game as well. That was really nice. So it was a really good experience.
Were you aware of the conversation going on behind you?
No, I could hear whooping
No.
and cheering. I was just kind of blocking it all out. I was just listening to the rest saying, "I'm going to card you if you carry on." Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just concentrating on the player. I've got to give them the eye contact and try and put them off as much as possible, unfortunately.
Yeah. As I say, one of their chaps was getting very, very upset, and I was winding it up a little bit more and more each time he did the ball back. He was basically saying you were not allowed to touch the ball.
Vuvuzela the whole time, so had to do a bit of one.
Rosie enjoyed that, and I went, yeah, well, enjoy it because I ain't getting one. So, well, if Soph does come back, we will ask her all about her amazing goal. If no one's seen it, you should definitely look it up because she meant it 100%. As I mentioned, the FA Cup match is this Sunday, even 6:30 kickoff. So anyone turn up early, you can see the Palace game. But our game is on afterwards. It is rare for you guys to be playing under the lights on an evening match. Are you looking forward to it? Is it going to make any difference to you, or are you just not bothered about it?
I think it will be different. We're so used to a midday kickoff. I'm quite excited for it. That it's in the darkness and the light. I think I prefer playing in the evening, so I'm quite looking forward to it. And something a bit different makes the night a bit special as well. Also gives people a chance to maybe do something earlier on their Sundays. As you said, we do it 4 days a week, sometimes 5. So it's a lot of football in the week with little time off. So it's nice maybe to do something in the Sunday daytime and then have our big match to look forward to in the evening. So I'm really looking forward to it.
She's back. She's gonna talk us through the goal. Come on, Sophie.
Oh yeah,
you'll go in the last round.
Sorry, there's always one with dodgy in there, isn't there?
Oh, she's gone again. She definitely does not want to talk about this goal, does she?
Honestly, I know that she was so excited about that goal. I really want her to talk us through it. And I've definitely had her talk us through it.
So we've spoken about the little ones in the crowd, but do you kind of notice how big the crowd is? It's difficult, and I know Ryan especially is trying to sort of chaperone people into one block so we can all make a lot of noise, and then you've got annoying people like me going, no, I've stood over here for 35 years. This is where I watch football from. I'm not watching it from anywhere else. How much difference does it actually make if there's a lot of people there? Is it better to spread out, or is it better that you're all in one place from your point of view as a player?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it is really nice when everyone's sat together because you do get that bit more of a roar and that excitement coming from the crowd and that bit more of togetherness. Like obviously everyone has where they like to stand, so I totally get that. I know when my dad comes to watch, he has a certain place he likes to stand. So I was very surprised when I saw him in the seating last week, but I think we definitely notice when there's more of a crowd backing us, especially when teams bring their own fans as well. So the team we played last week, they had quite a following and they were quite vocal in the game, so it's definitely noticeable, and I think really helps cheer us on when we hear our fans cheering us on and I get a little shout from the crowd or whatever it is. It's really nice and definitely encourages us a little bit more to up our game or get that next goal. So yeah, I think it was really nice to have lots of people squished into one place, because that, I think once one person starts shouting, it gets everyone going, encourages everyone to kind of give a little cheer to get us going. So definitely noticeable. So the more support we can get, the better. So yeah, it'll be great to have lots of people come on down to our next few games at home, because we've got a few games at home coming up. So the support would be great.
Yes, we'll come back to that in a second. Sophie, go on, try again. We've
There's
picked this
always
goal
one with
up.
that.
So talk us through your amazing goal in the last round.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Thanks. Yeah, obviously I didn't mean it, I can't lie, but I just thought, just hit it in an area, and I thought, oh, someone follow that in, and I thought, oh my god, and it went in.
not supposed to say you didn't mean it. It's always you meant it.
Just start that bit again.
Yes, right. Absolutely played for it. Perfect. It's exactly what I envisaged. So I was just asking, Zoe, you might have missed part of it and taken away from Zoe's answer. We've got obviously different people come to support. I've got a few people from the men's side coming, and then you've got old gits like me who like to stand in the same spot all the time, whatever football I'm playing, whether it's academy football, under 10s, I'm standing in my little spot on the curver. But do you guys notice the crowd so much, or does it? I know Ryan tried a couple of times to sort of corral everyone into the main stand area to try and keep everyone together to make a bit more noise. Did you have a preference or not fussed, or does it not really notice for you?
No, you definitely notice the crowd noise. I think I always am more conscious of it when it's from like the opposition. I remember the Benfica game, they had a lot of noisy fans, which was great for them, but I feel like you tune into it a bit more. When it's obviously support for you, I feel like it just sort of blends in and it's positive noise that you kind of almost don't really, you hear it, but you don't always take note of it. You always see a bit that you don't want to hear sometimes. But no, the more the merrier. We love people to come down and support. And yeah, we like hopefully putting on some good games for those that come down.
This is one of the things I say to Rosie. You can just come to football. You can shout and scream, say what you like. No one's going to tell you off for shouting. Just go for it. So, I mean, we kind of both hinted at it, and the next question down is, what can we say to people to get them down to watch you guys? Because I know for a fact if people start coming down a couple of games, 2, 3, 4 games, they're going to be then hooked in. I know we've got a lot of home games because I bought the season ticket, and then I think I've actually paid more in cup tickets than I've had for my season ticket to be able to use. I'm like, hang on, why am I paying now for a season ticket? But what can we do to encourage people? What would you say? Sophie, we'll start with you because you've got the weaker connection. You might disappear. What could you say to people that come down and watch it? Why are they coming to watch us?
I just think it's a nice day out for people. If you like to watch a bit of football, it's a nice atmosphere, a nice stadium when we play at Guernsey Green Lane, and hopefully you get a good game of football to watch with it. But yeah, I think it's a lovely day out.
Zoe, what would you say?
I think, like Zoe said, definitely cheaper to go, coming to watch us than maybe one of the Premier League teams. And it is a fun day out. We've got the bar going, bit of food often. And as you said earlier, you can just shout and scream all you like. Hopefully positive things though, please. And yeah, it is good fun. And I think it's just people might not think too much of it, but then when you get down to the game, you end up really enjoying it. And there's, as you said, there's lots of goals often in the games, hopefully more for us, or they're really tight games and it's actually really tense and enjoyable. And a lot of people who, come to the first game said, oh, actually, I really enjoyed that. I wasn't expecting it to be like that. It was really good quality and, really fun. So, I think you've just got to get down to one and then, hopefully you'll be a regular at Sutton United Women's.
Yeah, I mean, you hinted at one of the things, the selling points I've been going on about. You because of the level, you can go into the bar, get your drink, and come out and watch football with a pint in your hand, which you can't do at the men's side. And anyone who's a Sutton United supporter who hasn't been down, you can always come in and just do the whole loop usually as well, unless Ryan's blocking everything off to try and make us all stay in one spot. But you can normally have a little wander around and see like the way in that you don't normally get a chance to see. And as I might have mentioned, it's under the lights on Sunday. There was another set of questions I wanted to ask. And then earlier on, literally on the bus coming back from the development girls, I just started thinking this is actually ridiculous because so I'm going to ask kind of the question, but we've had a little bit of discussion here, and almost every conversation I ever hear with women players, it's always you're asked about and you get to speak about the game in general. That never happens with men players. It's just, how was today? Oh, it was good. Yeah, lovely. Thanks a lot. Why do you think that some people are invested, and yourselves as well, of how to grow the game and push it forward? So we'll start with you. Why do you think we, as people interviewing you, always like to bring up and say, well, how can we improve the game? How can we get more people in? What is it that gives us the right to ask about the game in general?
I think it's from the turning point for me was at the Euros, I think, when just the exposure was, I think, beyond what anyone would have anticipated. And I think from that was a turning point where suddenly a lot of people were engaged in the game, and it thought actually how much it has come on with the people that are out watching it, and there's probably a lot more support than people thought there would be. And I think from that, like you say, now you ask those questions of, okay, actually we've accelerated at a pace we probably didn't think we would. So how can we do more? How can we progress? And it's always that, what can we do to grow it even further? Because there's still things that can be done. And it's always that comparison to the men's game and how can we get it to that level. So I think it's a really nice thing that people ask that, actually, because it's a talking point, and it's, people aren't accepting that, oh, it's a really good level now and it's so much better than it was 5 years ago. But that's not enough, and we still want to push and improve and get more people at games and more exposure. And so I think it's nice that people ask that for us.
Okay. So what do you think?
I think, as I've said, the Euros have been really important in that, but also just grassroots football for girls growing and becoming more and more normalized, which I think it is now. And as we said, when we were younger, there wasn't as much kind of grassroots opportunities, but now there are, and there's such a big push in schools, and there's so many girls coming through who just want to play, and raising the profile of the game for everybody in schools is really important, and grassroots level clubs, so that everyone can be more exposed and interested in women's football. So as I've said, it's really nice that we do get asked that, because it just shows that it's growing, and looking at ways that we can help it to continue to grow. And sometimes that comes from us players interacting with the children at games and making sure they're enjoying the time, but then that also comes down to the FA and how they're helping to support football at all levels to help grow that game from the lowest levels to when they're younger, all the way up to the WSL. So yes, it's really good that we're looking forward to the future, and how we can get people excited.
Excellent, because I did feel like I'm making you guys spokespersons for the entire women's game. I never asked for this, so I'm really pleased. One thing I've often thought is, we'll talk about your club, Chelsea, and big clubs like that, purely from a mercenary point of view. Let's put aside everything else. The men's game can't continue to grow as much as it is. You can't get much more money out of people, and kids don't really care who's playing in the shirt. They're wearing the same shirt as those players on the pitch, and that's why I think big clubs will be the ones driving it, because they'll be saying, well, actually, the more people we can get in supporting the women's game, which will then filter down to our level as well. And that's just purely mercenary and making money out of it, which would hopefully filter down. Last thing, what's the result on Saturday going to be? You're not allowed to bet on the game, I guess, and no one's going to put any money on it, so don't worry. How confident are we?
I think we have to go in with confidence. You have to, otherwise there's no point in turning up if you don't have that belief you can get something from a game. So you have to go in with the belief, yes, they're a tier above us. And obviously I've played with a few of those players before anyway. And actually this is the third time we've played them in an FA Cup game, for me anyway. Yeah.
How did the others do?
We've lost one and won one.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
I think you've got to go in with the belief and desire to win. It's going to be a tough game, that willingness to work hard, and I believe we can get something from it. Hopefully the win.
So are you ready for penalties, or is it not going to need that?
Always ready for penalties. However, I believe it's not going to get to that this time. Well, I hope not. But as Soph said, it's the FA Cup. Anything can happen. And, it's as if we come together as a team and believe, we can get a result out of this. There's been games this season where we fought right till the end and got a last-minute goal and, a very late goal because of the togetherness of the squad and the fight that we show. So it will be a very tough game, absolutely. But I think, anything's possible. And if, we working out our hardest, there's, I don't have a doubt that we can come out with this game with a result. So hopefully we get a bit of support down to back us as well. We get that team going. Hopefully we can get something out of this game and get on to the next round.
Excellent. Well, thank you both. We're going to wrap up this episode. I always appreciate people listening. I appreciate your ear attention. Neither of you can roll your eyes at that because that's other people's responsibility. Follow, like, share on all these socials at Sutton Podcast. I say all the socials, it's not on Be Real or whatever the hell that is. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and all the rest of it. Next time, we are hopefully, I'm going to get some victims to actually do a podcast from your game. So we'll kind of fit it in before or after. Hopefully I'm finding some people who will be willing to do it of an experiment. If not, we'll definitely be back next week. Thank you to Lucky Star Gin, and thank you to Zoe. Thank you for Sophie. And Sophie, very thank you for keep trying and persevering with the connections logging in and off. I would have given up a long time ago, I'm going to be honest with you. Take care, and we'll catch up soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
United! United! United!